Hi, this is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and today we're talking about triggers. Hi, my name is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman. I'm an intuitive psychic medium here in the Sugar Land area. That's just outside of Houston. I work with my angels and guides to assist my clients in many areas of their lives, to bring them special messages from loved ones who have passed, to dialogue with their angels for guidance into their own situation, or to assist them with their own psychic abilities. If you like my content, please make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. So let's talk about triggers. Triggers are anything that causes someone to kind of recall a traumatic experience. And a traumatic experience can be a number of things. And the kind of the weird part about it is sometimes you don't really know what the person went through. You can just kind of see the reaction. So some of the triggers that, could be at the base of all of this is if someone was raped or molested, if they were physically assaulted, maybe a loss of a loved one. It could be military conflict, or kind of like, kind of re-going over what happened during the military, or not being able to calm themselves down. I will also say this kind of can include, child abuse, emotional abuse, incest, racism, kind of going through pregnancy-related issues. I've seen that in a couple of clients. And then also kind of any type of bullying can just bring out those triggers for someone. And that's where you're kind of like, they're the age they are now, but they're reacting as if they were at that age when the event happened. And that's where you're kind of like, oh my gosh, I thought I was talking to a 30-year-old, but I realized I'm talking to a 5-year-old. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just kind of to understand where they're coming through with some of this. Some of the less obvious kind of triggers can be smell, songs, even colors. It can also be dependent on what happened to the person and where they were at. And it can almost be like a deja vu, like I almost remember this, but I'm not 100% remembering all of this. And so they're kind of going into that trigger kind of thing. One of the things is usually there is some type of warning before they go into it. So if you're around the person a lot, when you start seeing those reactions, kind of like, okay, they're probably going into a trigger situation. And that can kind of give you some insight of getting that person out of that area, away from other people, in a calm, cool, usually more controlled environment will usually help. I will tell you that triggers aren't anything brand new. People have been having triggers for generations and years and years and years. Because triggers happen because of something that person usually couldn't control or had to work through no matter what. It can bring up stress and being overwhelmed, or being kind of like not really sure what to do next or how to deal with things next. And how someone reacts to the event can be very different. So if someone was molested as a child and you put your hand on their knee to give them, tell them something, that could trigger it. And where you're going, like, now they're overreacting to what you're doing now, but they're really triggered about something happened when they were a child. And so that can be kind of an interesting part of it. I've also seen this a lot coming up with a lot of political views. As people are arguing, like, I like this person, you like this person, that sort of thing. And they're really trying to have a discussion with somebody. And then all of a sudden they get triggered. And it's kind of like, sometimes it can come up because they don't feel heard. They're not feeling heard in what's being said, or I'm trying to tell you my side, but you keep interrupting me. So that can bring up other triggers. And usually as a child, because usually kids' opinions aren't always taken as seriously as other people. So that's just kind of something that can bring up. I would say there is kind of some ways to work through this. Like I said, getting that person out of that situation. If you have salt on you, washing their hands with salt can actually help kind of release some of that. And then make sure that they feel comfortable. And I would ask them about it. What was your trigger? What caused it? And then what were you remembering? As much as you would like to share, what would you like to tell me about it? And that can give them a little bit of a space to kind of let go of some of this, or to let go some of the triggers that are causing it or that are coming around them. Triggers never 100% go away completely. They're always there. But if you learn how to work through them, it makes it much easier. So let's do a couple of angel cards and get us to understand a little bit more about triggers and how we can help someone who's having triggers. Enchantment. I think this card comes forward because it's one of those, usually a lot of abuse happens to children. You have sexual molestation, you have bullying, usually happens usually only to kids, but not always. It could be some form of incest, being raped or molested, or it's one of those date rapes can happen a lot as younger people. And so that can be overwhelming as well and bring up a lot of issues that the person may not have been ready to deal with at that time. Friendship. They really need your friendship when it's going through that. And sometimes they act like they don't want you around, but they really do. So if sometimes when I've had clients react, and I'll just tell them, like, I'm just going to sit here quietly and I'm going to let you work through whatever you need. And I'm just going to sit here and pray for you, or just kind of be in silence as you work through some of this. And then when you're ready, only when you're ready, we can talk about it again. And that can really help them come up with some stuff. Sometimes our triggers happens in our dreams. Things from past lives can come forward, or things from our day can come forward, and it can be triggered. Like I said, it's kind of like a delayed trigger as it's coming up in our dreams. Power. We always have the power. We always are at the point of power, and how you work through or help someone deal with this can be amazing. When you are helping someone really understand what their trigger is, what the underlying trauma was, and then sometimes even getting that person some help. If they can talk to a counselor, they can talk to someone, that can be healing on so many different levels. Sometimes it's kind of a way to kind of know the warning signs are coming, but when they do, make sure that they're able to talk through all of this. Make sure that they're able to kind of think of it in a new way, or a new way of kind of bringing it up to a new healed state, because it is traumatic to have them, to eventually have the event happen the first time, but to be triggered over and over and over again is like reliving that trauma, and that can be overwhelming and really hurtful. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I know that we'll be talking again soon.